We'll continue to specifically explore the metal element in the season of autumn, helping with our ability to process grief in all its forms, which is really, grief is kind of a bigger word, but a big part of that is the ability to let go. And then processing that wisdom, carrying forward the wisdom, and just helping us continue to move through each of these seasons, whether it is autumn, winter, spring, summer, or seasons of our own lives, baby, child, teenager, and young adult, moving into our older age. So as we come into this seat, just finding a place to rest the hands, closing the eyes, becoming aware of the breath. Here we just notice noticing how you've landed physically, mentally, emotionally, and getting a sense, an overall sense of how you feel in your body and how you feel in the space around you. Becoming really present in exactly where you're at now. Noticing. Just before we start with our wake-up routine, which we'll do seated today, just reminding ourselves, reminding one another in this practice that truly this practice, first and foremost, helps bring us into the present moment. The only place that we really can ever be. A place that helps ground us, center us, perhaps find more clarity as we just give ourselves the space that we're in. So first and foremost today, just focusing on being present. Noticing the things that distract, that pull away, and using the tools that we're given here, our breath, our senses, movement of the body and energy, to continuously remind us how to be present. Once again, becoming aware of your breath if it's been drawn away in any way. Begin with our wake-up routine to get all of our energy moving and helping support us through this day. So finding the collarbones and dropping right beneath into the hollows, and beginning to tap. Deepening the breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. All we have here is this breath, this exhale. Take one more here. center of the sternum, thymus thumb. And just noticing. Noticing what starts to move, what you start to feel. Spleen points on the sides of the ribs. And sometimes in our practice, we purposefully pause and maybe compare, right? We might compare sides of the body. Might compare from what something felt like before, at the beginning of practice and end of practice. But actually today, let's see if we can drop that comparison. So as things surface, as we start to notice and feel things, we're not comparing it to yesterday or last year or even earlier in the practice, but we're just noticing this moment without judgment. Grateful that we're able to sense and feel and notice. Good. Let's shake off the arms here. You might wiggle the shoulders a little bit. And one more tap lightly on the cheekbones. Keeping that deep cleansing breath out through the mouth. And use your intuition if you'd like to stay right on these stomach points, or if you want to adventure around the ridge of the eyes, the bone of the eyes. Just feeling for any points that might be calling out. And moving that into an intuitive tap that goes anywhere on the body, especially spending some time on the head or anywhere else that you might just intuitively be called to go. As you scan the body with your awareness, with your tapping, let's start to tap in a sense of gratitude. Maybe go back to some of those points we tapped before. We're just kind of moving all over the body. Grateful for this body. Take your time. Find a place where you can kind of come to completion with this tapping. And then rest your hands wherever you've landed on the body. For me, I've landed on the heart. Maybe for you, it's on belly or legs or anywhere else. And just give a little rub on the body, just kind of smoothing those areas that you've tapped. Moving over the head, the neck, the shoulders, down the back, off the legs. And eventually letting the hands rest on the thighs. Lift up your right arm with an inhale. Exhale, let it fall to the right thigh. Inhale, left arm. Exhale, drop. Inhale, right arm. Drop. Use your breath. Cactus the arms, opposite hand to thigh. Starting to rotate through the spine as you cross crawl. Getting into a rhythm. Bringing both hands in front of the pubic bone, either on the body or a few inches out in front of the body. With our zip up, we can set an intention. Breathing into this low cauldron of the body, we store the reservoirs of strength, of determination, literally the fire in the belly. Just allowing a word of higher vibration penetrate the mind space, to draw down through the body, and then once you've really cultivated that, keeping that in your mind and heart, and we'll take our zip up 3 times, inhaling right at the center of the body, flipping the hands up at the corners of the lips, and exhaling to spread that out and around to your field. 2 more times. Inhale up. Exhale out. Last one on your own. Middle finger to belly button, other middle finger to third eye. Press in, draw up, or the hook up. Deep cleansing breaths. The hands on the thighs or knees. Turning attention inwards, becoming quiet. Feel your whole being coming into this meditative seat, Sukhasana. Whole being, the eyes, expression on the face, posture, shoulders and back. What does being meditative feel like right now? Being still, giving space. Becoming aware of your breath in this moment. Start to articulate with the breath. If the shins are feeling a little achy here from the seat, you might just switch the one that's in back to the front, reestablish your seat. And as you bring your attention back to your breath, we'll practice Samavritti, equal waves of breath. Doing your best to inhale for a count of 4 or 5 seconds. Same on the exhale, 4 or 5 seconds out. Count it out for yourself. See what the right pace is for you in this moment. Then use that gentle counting to help keep your focus on this breath. The breath should be feeling full and complete, but not strained. This Samavritti just for a moment and massage the lung neurolymphatics right here on the center of the sternum. Go up and down that middle bone. And then kind of raking across the chest, feeling in between the ribs on the front of the chest. Space that holds our lungs. Shake off the hands again, and you can rest the hands back on the lap or on the knees. And we'll bring attention back to the breath again, this time with an extended exhale. And we're just going to take 10 breaths. Inhaling for about the same pace you did before, 4 or 5 seconds. But then exhaling long and slow, pressing out every little ounce of air left in the lungs. So it's like we're really like cleansing out that lung space. It might be 8, 10 seconds out. Doesn't really matter so much the count, but just sort of the feeling of stretching that. You might be surprised at how that length of time can be stretched as you bring attention to an extended exhale. Representing your ability to let go. There's some really beautiful photos that I've seen or graphics created of the structure of the lungs looking very similar to the structure of trees. That all of these veins and lines kind of run through the lungs like branches of the tree, and the way that they ebb and flow much like the leaves on the trees, turning towards the sun, flexing with its environment. Completing this last exhale, complete the cycle wherever you're at. And then once you've completed that, we'll let go of that technique and move into freeing the diaphragm. So again, just giving us a little extra support in helping our lungs function really well today. All of our breathing mechanisms, pressing a fist or heel of the hand into the diaphragm, right where the ribs are meeting here. The other hand on top of that to give a little press. And we'll inhale and press into that diaphragm, kind of in and down. Holding the breath for as long as it's comfortable to do so. And then when you need to let go, do just that. Simply let go of the whole, let the breath go all the way out. And we'll just do that a couple more times. Breathing in. So the belly inflates as you press into this point. Letting it go when you need. One more time on your own. One more time, hands rest in thighs. With just a few more articulated breaths. Starting the same with an inhale at about 4 or 5. And an extended exhale with a hold at the bottom of the breath. Just for a second or two, feeling that absolute emptiness, stillness at the bottom of the breath. Might even feel a little uncomfortable, so worth noticing just how your nervous system feels with this breath work. And of course, if we're being triggered at any point, release the technique, come back to a breath that feels soothing and calming, and then slowly, maybe lengthening that exhale, maybe adding a second of a hold at the bottom to start to build that capacity. complete this round of breath that you're on. And then release all that technique. And we're going to come around to our backs for a moment. You can roll all the way down. Maybe you take a blanket under the head for cushion. If you have a strap, you might choose to use that here. And massaging a few more of our lung points on the thighs. So you can, I like to rest one foot on the opposite thigh or knee, just kind of gives a little prop. And then using fists or fingertips and digging into the sides of the thighs, inner and outer seams, large and small intestines. If your digestion is pretty regular in terms of bowel movements, then you can kind of balance going up and down the thighs. If you want to support, if you've been feeling more constant on the constipated side, then you'll want to move from your hip towards your knee, hip towards knee. And if you're on the other side of that, where it's maybe been a little looser, then you'll want to go from knee to thigh. So that's just a little tip, trick, right? But you can use your intuition to see what feels right for you today. And this is common for it to be quite sore, right? So it's a hurts so good kind of feeling, and you can really dig into that soreness. Again, just bringing in that attitude of gratitude, to be thankful for this ability to feel, to notice, to even get to work with the body in this type of relationship. It's really, truly one of the most important things, at least from my perspective at this point in all of life, is our relationships. That starts with ourselves, people close to us, our neighbors, and even the people that we may not see eye to eye with. Truly, the relationship to everyone and everything. We can do this on both sides. We're really taking our time today to support the natural processes of the body. When you do feel complete with this massage, just digging in, you can just smooth the hands over the legs a few times. And let both feet come down towards the mat. Draw your right knee in towards your chest. And then send the right leg up towards the sky. If you have a strap, you could hook it around the sole of the foot. Otherwise, you could hold with your hands behind the thigh. And you might just roll your ankle around a few times here, or point and flex. Option to send the left leg down the mat. And it doesn't make it better or worse, so just see how that feels. We really just want to make sure that the lower back is staying grounded, that it's feeling supported here. Getting a nice stretch through the legs to bring some space into all of the lines of energy that move along the inside and outside of the leg. Giving space in the thigh where we were just massaging. We're going to open this right leg out to the right. You can use your hand to support that, or use the strap if you have it. Guide that leg up through center and we'll cross it over the body. Twisting the other way. Back through center, rebend the knee in towards the chest and switch sides. Left leg goes up towards the sky. Again, you can move the ankle around a bit here. And opening the leg to the left side. Bringing it around through center, cross it over the body into a twist. Coming back through the middle, bend the left knee in towards the chest, bring the right knee in towards the chest, and take a rock and roll side to side. And then a rock and roll along the length of the spine, going forward and backwards. You can hold behind the thighs. Take a few rocks. And eventually coming all the way up into your seat. And as you come to rise, we're going to come all the way over into tabletop. So you can swing your legs around. Let the chin drop down and take a few half circles through the neck, tracing the chin from shoulder to shoulder. And drop down onto your forearms for a version of puppy pose, bringing the head into the hands. Covering forehead, eyes, cheeks, thumbs can rest at the temples. Allowing the back to hammock. And releasing the hands and coming down to your belly. You can rest the hands stacked one over the other underneath of the head. Maybe shake the hips a little bit in our triple warmer rock. Releasing in the low back. And then pause that movement. You can let the heels splay for just a moment as we prepare. The next few movements we'll do here on the belly are meant to help bring this sort of flexibility and strength into the spine. We're not really bringing it in, actually. That's not really the right language. We're not bringing in the strength and flexibility, but sort of what we're feeling into, this natural strength and flexibility of the spine. Right? Once we remove those obstacles, once we start to mobilize the spine, we can see that true strength of being flexible and strong. And again, we might think of the tree. We might think of a big branch of a tree. It's able to flex and move with its environment, but it also has enough structure to hold itself there. To not bend so far that it breaks. So we'll start here with hands underneath of head, and you can start to re-engage the legs, just pointing the toes back, feeling the tops of the thighs and feet on the mat, pressing pubic bone down. And then lift your head off of your hands, almost like you would a cobra, and look forward. And then lift your right foot. Lower the right foot. Lift the left foot. Lower the left foot. Lower the head. This time the arms are going to come with the head. So we'll start to feel the engagement come in a little stronger. Lift your head and arms. Lift both of your legs. Exhale, lower down everything to the mat. And we'll pulse this up and down a few times with the breath. Inhale, everything lifts. Locust pose. Exhale, everything lowers. Inhale, everything lifts. And exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Good. Send your arms out in front of you. Opposite hand and foot are going to lift. Inhale, left foot, right hand. Exhale, lower. Inhale, right foot, left hand. Exhale, lower. Continue to alternate sides, moving with your breath. Being present in this moment without comparison. Doing your best, find non-judgment in regards to your relationship with your body, your practice. And we'll balance out both sides here, so just depending where you're at, go through the cycle, either one more round or complete the one you're on. And then we'll land everything down on the mat. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders like you do for cobra. Inhale, baby cobra. Holding shoulders down and back. Breathe here. A little squeeze between the shoulder blades. Feel the strength. Maybe even the challenge coming in. You've got it. Breathe. Lower the head down. Thank you, spine. And we'll press up here. You can just kind of roll the body up and off the mat, coming back into your tabletop. And just take a moment. You can kind of stretch back towards your heels a bit. And then landing in tabletop for cow and cat. Come into downward facing dog. Start to walk towards the hands into a forward fold. Let the back of the head go. You can hold on to the elbows if you'd like. Ragdoll. We'll come to rise, bending the knees, rolling the spine up. Eventually coming to stand in Tadasana and bringing the feet underneath of you so that you feel supported in this stance. Shoulders drawing down and back, crown reaching up. You might just start to gently pound the heels. If you're feeling more energized, this could be a little quicker to start, but at least for me, and you can feel into your own body, it feels better to just kind of do this slowly today with our heel pounds. One at a time, just kind of stomping them down. Naturally, the breath might start to get a little deeper. You might find a few cleansing breaths here. pause, the heel pounds. We'll give ourselves a nice little jaw release. Hands come together like you're holding your own hand. Taking a nice deep breath in, and as you exhale, we'll shake the hands and arms vigorously, relaxing lower jaw completely so we get this nice vibration all through this area. Usually a little sound will come out at that point. Remember that extended exhale, so let the whole breath come out as you continue to vigorously shake the arms. And then once you're ready to take that next breath, just do that at your own pace, breathing in and let it go. Complete this one that you're on, and then shake out the arms, shake out the legs. Gentle chair pose, sitting the hips down and back for penetrating flow. We'll bring our hands behind the back, right behind the belly button, begin to circle. And really feel that you're sitting back into a chair, right? So shifting a little more into the heels, feeling the thighs firm up. Switch direction of your circles. Pause that movement, come up and over the hips. Flip your palms at the hip flexors, and then we'll trace the hands up and around the torso, standing up tall, come up the throat, around the mouth. 3 audible exhales. Belt flow, starting on one side of the waist, reaching around the back and drawing the hands around to the other side. Come through the field, and 2 more times, wrap around. On this third one, trace down the outside of your leg and off your pinky toe, shake it off. Come up the inseam of the legs, tracing up spleen. Other waist, other side, tracing around. Down the outside of the leg, off the pinky toe, shake it off. When you come down into your fold this time, step your feet wide. Wide leg forward fold. You can reach towards your toes or towards the shins, grabbing a hold of whatever you can here to give yourself a little tug with the elbows pointing out to the sides and letting the head release. Bring your hands to the center of the mat, or right in the center of your legs. Keeping the left hand down, sweep the right arm up into a twist. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, left arm comes up, twist. Exhale, bring it down. Bring the hands back to your big toes, and we'll trace up spleen from here, coming up the inside of the shins, the thighs, flaring out a little at the hips, up to shoulders, down to the side body, and anchor in here. Turn the toes out, goddess pose, rebending into the knees, pointing the same direction as toes, and lifting the arms up to a cactus shape. Imagine you have a wall behind you, and you're backing up the hips, shoulder blades, the backs of the arms, the back of the head. Everything pressing up against that wall. straighten your legs. Step or hop the feet together. Bring the hands around to the low back for a supported back bend. Drawing the elbows together. Start to lift up through the center of your chest. If the neck is strained, you can keep the chin down. If it feels okay, you might lift the head up. It might not look like much. We don't need to go very far here to start feeling this openness of the front body. Make sure that you feel supported here. But you can play into it, right? So explore that space. Come back into the middle, just lifting the head back to center. Inhale, reach the arms up and overhead, heaven rushing in. And again, we find a slight back bend. Pay attention to where it feels best for the neck to be, either chin drawing down or maybe looking up. And bring the palms together, draw them right down through the center of the heart. We'll move into our peak metal pose, human touching the divine. We'll start with our low back bend. Inhale, arms come out wide to the side. Exhale, hugging forward with your S sound. Back bend at the height of the heart. Hugging forwards. Coming back to the arms overhead. Arms come together overhead, S sound. Keep it going, slide your hands down the back of the arms, landing on the upper outer chest, right over the lungs. Take another breath or two with that long S sound. Rest on thighs. Take a moment to ground and acknowledge the challenges and the gifts of the metal element. What it means to complete a cycle or to move into the end of a cycle. I know for me, and sometimes like the cycle we've talked about, it's like the cycle of life, right? Like it begins in birth and then ends in death. But in other ways, this is experienced. Like for me, doing some kind of creative project, there's like the initial spark, the initial idea or inspiration of something. And that sort of starts a process, and you start to work on that and move it forward, and you go through frustration and anxieties about it, and then you find the inspiration to keep going forward. And at some point, maybe you worry about it. You know, you go through all the emotions and you get to this last piece. And sometimes this is like the hardest push to complete something. You see it all the time, right? People start something and then not finish it. And so that's where we're at. That's what we're acknowledging. This last piece. The sometimes hard push right at the end to bring something through completion. I love how our yoga practice reminds us that we can work with these things in really small ways. We don't have to think about this as like something huge that we have to do or complete. It doesn't have to be the biggest thing on our list that gets done here, that gets completed. But in the smallest of ways, how can you help bring something to completion? And you don't need to have the answer for that. It's just opening that for contemplation as we move through the day, move through these next few weeks of the metal season. Just noticing in your day how you might be able to help bring something to completion with support, with opening, with letting go, with becoming aware of the new wisdom that you've gained. And with that in mind, let's use our breath and movement to help us move through that as we come into our water element, our water pose. Let's take the arms up and overhead, and then Celtic weave, just moving through your field, nice and slow, appreciative, and coming down to a forward fold. When you get to the ground, bend your knees. For blowing out the candle, you can hold one hand around the thigh, the other hand supports you. Inhale, looking down. Exhale, blow out and forward. Like blowing out a candle. Bring your hands to the ground, step back into downward facing dog. You might pedal it out here for just a moment, and we have 2 more holds. Actually, we can maybe just consider it 1 hold. We're gonna go through a series of planks to find that stability through the spine. We'll roll forward, coming into plank. You have the option to lower the knees. We want to be in integrity, right? We want to be whole in our bodies, not feeling like we're about to collapse. So find the spot that you can hold. The breath continues to move. That's the ebb and flow, like the strong trees. Not getting rigid in any area of the bodies, especially paying attention to the jaw, the head, but engaging firmly, using the legs, activating the thighs, the core. And we'll come into a side plank. Again, you could have your knee down, so find the right spot for you. Doesn't matter which way you go first. We're going to do both sides. There's 5 breaths here. Nice strong hold. Using the obliques, lifting up through hips. The shaking is invited in, waking up all of the muscles of the body. I love playing for how it engages everything. We'll come back through center and switch sides. Come back through the middle, lower your knees down to the mat, child's pose. Come forward onto your forearms. We're coming back into that puppy-like shape that we did in the beginning. And the same head hold. Elbows underneath of you, hands cover forehead, eyes, and cheeks. Release the head hold. We'll close our practice back in Sukhasana, just resting the hands in the lap of equal waves of breath. together, let's just take a few breaths here, counting to a pace of about 4 or 5 in, 4 or 5 out. Cleansing breath to synchronize our breaths. Breathe in. Let it go. Breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1. Exhale, 5. Inhale, 1. Exhale, 5. Inhale, 1. Exhale, 5. Hands come together. Taking a final bow to acknowledge the light that lives within each one of us, the spark in the heart, the fire in the belly, the eye that sees beyond the physical. Bow to you.